August 17, 2018, Detroit, Michigan, USA. Detroit Lions defensive end Ezekiel Ansah, 94, warms up before a game against the New York Giants at Ford Field. Mandatory credit, Tim Fuller. USA Today Sports. Tim Fuller, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter. Archived before free agency even officially began, the Jets had handed out $173 million worth of contracts on 4 new players, and that went with another $51.7 million in deals to bring back 4 of their own. They even tried to hand out another $100 million or so in contracts, before edge rusher Anthony Barr changed his mind and center Matt Paradis signed somewhere else. So the Jets have been busy, and there's no doubt that with the additions of running back Le'Veon Bell, linebacker C.J. Mosley and receiver Jamison Crowder, they are better than they were a few days ago. But they're not done yet. They still have some cap room to spend and some holes to fill. Lucky for them, NFL free agency is still really only beginning and there are a bunch of good players left to sign. Edge rushers. This was a huge need heading into the offseason and they thought they had found their guy when Barr agreed to a deal with the Jets. But the next morning, he decided to take less money to return to the Minnesota Vikings and the Jets returned to their search. Of course, by then, most of the top pass rushers were off the board. Justin Houston, cut by the Chiefs in a salary cap move, he's the best pass rusher on the market and will surely be paid like it. Jets offered $14 million per year to Barr, and it might take more for Houston. Ezekiel Ziggy Ansah, his price could drop due to his shoulder injury. The Bills and Saints have already set up visits with him. Shaquille Barrett, tons of potential and only 26, he seemed on his way to big things until the Broncos drafted Bradley Chubb and pushed him aside. Alex Okafor, he's 28, but never quite lived up to his potential. Could be an inexpensive filler and a reserve once the Jets draft someone. Shane Ray, once the perfect bookend to Von Miller in Denver, he's had 2 sacks in 2 seasons that have been ruined by wrist injuries. He'll likely only get a 1-year, prove-it deal. Marcus Golden, he hasn't been the same since a torn ACL in 2017, but he's another that could come on a short-term, cheap deal. Receivers. Signing Crowder fills this need, especially since the Jets really seem to like Quincy Enunwa and Robbie Anderson. They certainly could use a veteran to add to the group, and there are a couple really intriguing names out there, but they're not likely to overspend. Golden Tate, a very underrated receiver who is 30 and coming off a down year, but the previous 4 seasons he averaged 93 catches and 1,056 yards. He's mostly a slot receiver, like Crowder, but can play outside, too. Randall Cobb, injuries have limited him in recent years, and he's almost a pure slot receiver, which would be a problem. But if his market drops enough, he'd provide good depth. Cornerbacks. The Jets did bring back Roberts and paid him $18 million over 3 years, which indicates they view him as a starter. But with Buster Skrine gone to Chicago and Mo Claiborne not expected back, they still need a third corner. Ronald Darby, a 25-year-old with a high ceiling, but he's coming off a torn ACL. Likely will get more than a 1-year, prove-it deal, and word as it could come from the Chiefs soon. Bryce Callahan, he's battled injuries throughout his career, including a broken foot last year, but he's still considered one of the best slot corners in the league. Darqueze Dennard, a former first-round pick, he's a terrific slot corner but wants to be paid like an outside corner. That probably puts him outside the Jets' price range. Brian Poole, he's only 26, started 9 games last year and had 3 interceptions, but the Atlanta Falcons didn't give him a restricted free agent tender. They're hoping to bring him back at a lower rate. Meanwhile, he's already visited the Jets and has drawn interest from the Cincinnati Bengals. Centers. This was a terrible market from the beginning, which is why it's unfortunate the Jets couldn't land Paradis, far and away the best center on the market. What's left just isn't very appealing. Stefan Wisniewski, he was a longtime starter who was mostly a backup last year in Philadelphia. He can play center and guard and is only 29, so he could have a productive year or 2 left. John Sullivan, a solid, durable center who will turn 34 in August. He could be a one-year stopgap, but the Jets would have to look to the draft for his replacement. Kickers: they lost Pro Bowler Jason Myers, but they weren't going to come close to matching the 4-year, $15.5 million contract he got from Seattle. They're convinced they can find a cheaper replacement. Somehow they always do. Stephen Gostkowski, coming off a down year, he's probably headed back to New England. But if not, he's the best on a thin kicking market. Cody Parkey: he was damaged goods in Chicago after the playoff disaster, but he was 21 of 23 for Adam Gase's Dolphins 2 years ago. Matt Bryant: if he wasn't about to turn 44, he'd be ideal. Extremely reliable, and he has some experience with the Meadowlands Winds, albeit in a different stadium from when he was with the Giants in 2002-03. Charles Leclerc: the numeric details of Le'Veon Bell's 4-year, $52.5 million deal with the Jets were released on Thursday, and it is safe to say New York got themselves a great deal for one of the most dynamic weapons in the NFL. Breaking it down, Bell will earn $14.5 million for the 2019 season, but will only count for a $8.5 million cap hit because of the $2 million from his signing bonus and $4.5 million roster bonus to go along with a $2 million base salary. His 2-year total, then, comes to $26 million, with $11.5 million coming his way while being a $13.5 million cap hit. There is a potential out of his contract in 2021, and it would only be a $4 million cap hit. But to keep Bell from potentially sitting out again, the Jets implemented two $3 million training camp reporting bonuses in 2021 and 2022, which comes after the $35 million in guaranteed money has been shelled out. Minnesota Vikings quarterback Kirk Cousins drops back to pass against the New York Jets during the first quarter at MetLife Stadium. Brad Penner, USA Today Sports: Kirk Cousins infamously spurned the Jets last offseason to sign with the Minnesota Vikings. But he's happy his former college teammate, Le'Veon Bell, is playing with New York. Bell, who agreed to a 4-year, $52.5 million deal with the Jets, tweeted how he's happy to be in green and white again, just like his Michigan State days. And Cousins made sure to salute his former teammate. New York Jets running back Isaiah Crowell runs the ball against the Minnesota Vikings during the third quarter at MetLife Stadium. Brad Penner, USA Today Sports. The Jets released running back Isaiah Crowell on Thursday, just days after they reached an agreement with free agent Le'Veon Bell, the team announced. The Jets saved $3 million in cap space by cutting Crowell. However, Crowell's contract counts for $2 million in dead cap space for 2019. The 26-year-old Crowell, who signed a 3-year, $12 million with New York last offseason, totaled 685 rushing yards, 152 receiving yards and 6 rushing touchdowns in 13 games last year. December 31, 2017, Foxborough, MA, USA. New England Patriots quarterback Tom Brady, 12, is sacked by New York Jets nose tackle Steve McClendon, 99, during the second half at Gillette Stadium. Mandatory credit: Brian Fluharty, USA Today Sports. Brian Fluharty: as they've added a bunch of potential game-changing external free agents, the Jets have also been bringing back plenty of their own. The latest is nose tackle Steve McClendon. The Jets announced the deal with the 33-year-old McClendon, who will receive a 1-year deal worth $2.5 million that can max out at $3.5 million, reports Manish Mehta of the New York Daily News. McClendon, who has been with the Jets since 2016, has played in all 16 games each of the last 2 seasons. In 2018, he started 14 games and had 34 total tackles. Game plan for Le'Veon Bell: 0 hours 0 minutes and 59 seconds. The Jets got Le'Veon Bell as a big piece for Sam Darnold. With a lot of mileage on him from Pittsburgh, will NY have Bell on a snap count? Le'Veon Bell made his decision to come to the Jets late Tuesday night, as GM Mike Maccagnan got the man he wanted. Bell is expected to be a major impact for the offense, even with a full year of sitting out in 2018, but how should the Jets deploy them? Bell got a heavy workload while in Pittsburgh, but the Jets may not want to use him. The same way to make sure his body and performance hold up through the 4-year contract, the SNY Jets crew discusses how Bell will impact the Jets this season, and if a pitch count is warranted for head coach Adam Gase to use. New York Jets kicker Jason Myers kicks a field goal during the first half against the Tennessee Titans at Nissan Stadium. Christopher Hayne-Winkle, USA Today Sports. 2 special teams Pro Bowlers won't be returning to the Jets this year. Jason Myers, who made the Pro Bowl in 2018, posted a thank you message to Jets fans Wednesday afternoon, and SNY's Ralph Vacchiano reports that Myers indeed isn't expected to return to the Jets. Additionally, the Jets are not expected to re-sign return specialist Andre Roberts, according to the Daily News. March 3, 2019, Indianapolis, Indiana, USA. Ohio State defensive lineman Nick Bosa, DL25, goes through workout drills during the 2019 NFL Combine at Lucas Oil Stadium. Mandatory credit, Brian Spurlock. USA Today Sports. Brian Spurlock. Before the Odell Beckham Jr. trade madness and the Jets finally landing Le'Veon Bell on Tuesday night, the 49ers made a trade of their own for Dee Ford, and with that trade, the Jets may have just won the Nick Bosa sweepstakes. Bosa is arguably the best defensive end in an NFL draft class that is stacked with many talented edge rushers. He is certainly on the Jets' radar to take at No. 3 overall, but the 49ers, like many others, have him on their big board as well. And San Francisco owns the pick before New York, so they could grab Bosa before the Jets have the chance. Kirby Lee. The Jets have been one of the big winners of NFL free agency, following up a bunch of solid moves with the franchise-shifting signing of running back Le'Veon Bell. And Vegas has noticed. The Jets' odds to win Super Bowl 54 jumped from 100/1 to 50/1 after news of the Bell signing broke. Per BetOnline, Le'Veon Bell expected to sign 0 hours 0 minutes and 56 seconds. Le'Veon Bell and the Jets agreed to terms late Tuesday night. What does this splash signing mean? Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive. 1 year ago, Mike Maccagnan set the Jets up for their future by finding the franchise quarterback they had been seeking for 50 years. Now he's found a weapon that can actually help his franchise quarterback win. There was only one true game-changing offensive player on the NFL free agent market, and the Jets GM got him late Tuesday night when running back Le'Veon Bell agreed to terms on a deal with the Jets, an NFL source confirmed. The deal is a steal at 4 years, $52.5 million, according to a source, with a reported $35 million guaranteed. Jets sign Le'Veon Bell 0 hours 5 minutes and 0 seconds. The New York Jets made a bold move in free agency as RB Le'Veon Bell plans to sign a 4-year deal to run with Gang Green. The Jets, who have been incredibly active in free agency, are adding a game-changing running back to the fold. Free agent RB Le'Veon Bell, the 27-year-old Bell, who sat out the entire 2018 season after refusing to sign the franchise tag, agreed to a 4-year, $52.50 million deal, SNY's Ralph Vacchiano confirmed, with a max of $61 million and $35 million guaranteed. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, Bell confirmed that he will be heading to New York with a tweet. Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, USA. Pittsburgh Steelers running back Le'Veon Bell, 26, Philip G. Pavley. The Jets have won the Le'Veon Bell sweepstakes, as the top free agent has reportedly agreed to a 4-year, $52.5 million deal. First reported by ESPN's Adam Schefter, Bell's deal has a max value of $61 million with incentives, and he will receive $35 million in guaranteed money. The 27-year-old confirmed the move on Twitter right around midnight and posted to his Instagram with his new green and white threads. He also made sure to mention his new mixtape, Life Say Gamble. Click below to see Bell's tweet and more. September 20, 2018, Cleveland, Ohio, USA. Cleveland Browns quarterback Tyrod Taylor, 5, runs away from New York Jets defensive end Henry Anderson, 96, during the first half of a game at FirstEnergy Stadium. Mandatory credit, David Dermer. USA Today Sports. David Dermer. The Jets are set to bring back Henry Anderson next season. SNY's Ralph Vacchiano confirmed on Tuesday, Anderson will return on a deal worth $25 million over 3 years, and that is just compensation after the season he put together for Gang Green last season. The Jets' pass rush wasn't all that good, but Anderson was tied for first on the team with a career-high 7 sacks to go along with 35 combined tackles and 16 quarterback hits. Anderson played in all 16 games last season, but only totaled 3 starts. He will likely remain in that depth role again this year unless he shows out at training camp, and proves to the Jets last season wasn't a fluke. Pittsburgh Steelers running back Le'Veon Bell gains short yardage against the Indianapolis Colts in the fourth quarter at Lucas Oil Stadium. Thomas J. Russo, USA Today Sports. Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, Archive. The Jets have a sizable offer on the table for running back Le'Veon Bell, and some around the league believe it's the best offer he has. There's no indication at all that teams are engaged in any kind of bidding war for what may be the best free agent on the market. So why won't Bell take the Jets' money? That's something a lot of people around the NFL, including the Jets, would like to know. November 25, 2018, Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA. Minnesota Vikings linebacker Anthony Barr, 55, reacts after making a play during the third quarter against the Green Bay Packers at U.S. Bank Stadium. Mandatory credit. Harrison Barden, USA Today Sports. Harrison Barden. Anthony Barr is just not a New York kind of guy. Apparently, the 26-year-old linebacker had agreed to a deal to join the Jets on Monday, but by Tuesday afternoon, he had changed his mind and was returning to the Vikings for less money. So what exactly happened? In November 5, 2017, Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, USA, Denver Broncos center Matt Paradis, 61, calls a signal against the Philadelphia Eagles at Lincoln Financial Field. Mandatory credit. Eric Hartline, USA Today Sports. Eric Hartline. The Jets are about to lose out on another free agent target, as center Matt Paradis has reportedly agreed to a deal with the Panthers, per ESPN's Adam Schefter. The deal is said to be worth $27 million over 3 years, which would be $9 million per season for the 29-year-old. According to SNY's Ralph Vacchiano, the Jets were making a very strong push to sign Paradis as they need a new center this season. The Jets let Spencer Long go, and Jonathan Harrison is the next best option at the moment. It made sense for the Jets to target Paradis, with head coach Adam Gase having seen his skill set as his offensive coordinator with the Broncos for 1 season. Minnesota Vikings linebacker Anthony Barr celebrates during the third quarter against the Miami Dolphins at US Bank Stadium. Bryce Hemmelgarn, USA Today Sports. Free agent LB Anthony Barr, who verbally agreed to a deal with the Jets on Monday, has reneged and will return to the Vikings, SNY's Ralph Vacchiano confirmed. Barr's deal with the Vikings will be for 5 years and $67.5 million, according to NFL.com. Ian Rapoport, with $33 million guaranteed and $10 million more in incentives, with the deal working out to $13.5 million per year. SNY's Ralph Vacchiano was told the Jets' offer was at least $14 million per year. Tim Tebow sent to Miners 0 hours 1 minute and 54 seconds. The best of Tebow's media availability after he learned he is headed to Syracuse. He even is asked about the Jets compared to the Mets. For a New York organization the second time, Tim Tebow said his tenure with the Mets is nothing like his first go-round in the Big Apple, when he was still on the gridiron with the Jets. Tebow, at spring training with the Mets until Monday when he was reassigned to minor league camp, was asked how the two experiences compared. The former quarterback and current outfielder had this to say: "It's totally different than the Jets here," Tebow said. "I don't know there's much comparison at all. It's very different circumstances, and I think this is one where there's been open communication the whole time, knowing, understanding, learning. I think that's something I've really had with Mets manager Mickey Callaway, with general manager Brodie Van Wagenen, with everyone, and still will going forward." Jets set to sign C.J. Mosley 0 hours 0 minutes and 44 seconds. The Jets agreed to terms with former Ravens inside linebacker, C.J. Mosley. It's a big move to shore up the defense. Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, archive. The first day of NFL free agency was a good one for the Jets. Now the second day has started off even better. One day after coming to terms with edge rusher Anthony Barr, slot receiver Jamison Crowder and special teams ace Josh Bellamy, the Jets agreed to terms with former Ravens linebacker C.J. Mosley, an NFL source confirmed. The deal agreed to overnight is for 5 years and $85 million, according to the NFL Network, with $51 million guaranteed. The Jets had been after the 6'2", 250-pound inside linebacker from the moment that legal tampering period began on Monday, according to a source. They viewed him as a terrific complement to Avery Williamson, one of the prizes of their 2018 free agent class, and an upgrade over former first-round pick Darren Lee, whose future with the Jets is no longer clear. Minnesota Vikings linebacker Anthony Barr during the game against the Green Bay Packers at Lambeau Field. Jeff Hanish, USA Today Sports, Ralph Vacchiano, Facebook, Twitter, archive. With the exception of a couple of vague tweets heard round the NFL, Le'Veon Bell was one of the quietest free agents in the league on Monday. If the Jets were looking to make some noise by signing the NFL's #1 free agent, it looks like they're going to have to wait. For the moment, as multiple NFL sources told SNY, the Jets are believed to be the favorite to land the 27-year-old running back. But the truth is, only Bell knows for sure for whom he will toll. He said on Twitter he had more than 2 teams to choose from. The Jets, 49ers, Eagles, Raiders, Dolphins and Bears had all been mentioned as possible destinations. Josh McCown, 15, mandatory credit, Noah K. Murray, USA Today Sports, Noah K. Murray, Jets quarterback Josh McCown said in a statement via Twitter, he is unsure if he will play in 2019. While I still have a strong desire to continue playing, his statement read, my family dynamics at this point are such that I would like to take more time before making the commitment to play in 2019. I have spoken to the Jets to make them aware. I'm excited about spending time with my family as we process what's next. Chicago Bears wide receiver Josh Bellamy is tackled by New York Jets inside linebacker Avery Williamson at Soldier Field. Quinn Harris, USA Today Sports. The Jets are nearing a deal with former Bears wide receiver Josh Bellamy, SNY.tv's Ralph Vacchiano confirmed. Bellamy and the Jets are close to a 2-year deal with $2.75 million guaranteed at signing that could be worth as much as $7 million, according to NFL Network's Ian Rappaport. Bellamy could be the second wide receiver to join the Jets in free agency, joining former Redskins receiver Jamison Crowder, who agreed to a 3-year, $28.5 million deal with New York on Monday. September 16, 2018, Landover, MD, USA, Washington Redskins wide receiver Jamison Crowder, 80, runs with the ball against the Indianapolis Colts at FedEx Field. Mandatory credit, Jeff Burke, USA Today Sports, Jeff Burke. The Jets are adding another wide receiver for Sam Darnold. Veteran wideout Jamison Crowder and the Jets have agreed to a 3-year, $28.5 million deal with $17 million fully guaranteed, SNY's Ralph Vacchiano confirmed on Monday. Crowder, 25, joins the Jets as their slot receiver with Quincy Enunwa and Robbie Anderson on the outside. New York Jets defensive back Buster Skrine warms up before the game against the Cleveland Browns at First Energy Stadium. David Dermer, USA Today Sports. Former Jets cornerback Buster Skrine will sign a 3-year, $16.5 million deal with $8.5 million guaranteed with the Chicago Bears, according to NFL Network's Mike Garafolo and Ian Rappaport. Skrine, 30, spent the past 4 seasons with the Jets, recording 222 combined tackles, 3 interceptions, 30 passes defensed and 3 forced fumbles in 59 games. Last year, Skrine totaled 58 combined tackles and 8 passes defensed in 14 games, 11 starts. In November 25, 2018, Minneapolis, Minnesota, USA, Minnesota Vikings linebacker Anthony Barr, 55, reacts after making a play during the third quarter against the Green Bay Packers at U.S. Bank Stadium. Mandatory credit, Harrison Barden. USA Today Sports. Harrison Barden. The first big splash the Jets make in free agency could be linebacker Anthony Barr, with Trey Flowers headed to the Detroit Lions. Per ESPN's Adam Schefter, the Jets are stepping up their pursuit of Barr. According to SNY's Ralph Vacchiano, Barr, who turns 27 next week, has been linked to the Jets previously and would give them a versatile Pro Bowl outside linebacker to their defense. NFL free agency has arrived 0 hours 0 minutes and 59 seconds at the end of last season. Jamal Adams said the Jets needed more dogs on their team. As the NFL's free agency begins, we found some for him. The Jets are not quite done shoring up their offensive line and could add a major piece in free agency that would fill the void left since Nick Mangold retired 2 years ago. Per SNY's Ralph Vacchiano, the Jets are making a strong push for free agent center Matt Paradis, who is regarded as the top center on the free agent market. December 23, 2018, Miami Gardens, FL, USA. Miami Dolphins head coach Adam Gase, right, talks with Miami Dolphins quarterback Ryan Tannehill, 17, at Hard Rock Stadium. Mandatory credit, Steve Mitchell. USA Today Sports. Steve Mitchell. Sam Darnold is the Jets' franchise quarterback, but what is the plan in case he goes down with an injury next season? Well, new head coach Adam Gase may turn to a familiar face. According to Chris Mortensen on ESPN's NFL Live on Monday, the Jets could be a potential destination for free agent quarterback Ryan Tannehill. December 30, 2018, Baltimore, Maryland, USA. Baltimore Ravens inside linebacker C.J. Mosley, 57, reacts after sacking Cleveland Browns quarterback Baker Mayfield, not pictured during the second half at M. Mandatory credit, Tommy Gilligan. USA Today Sports. Tommy Gilligan. The Jets are ready to give their defense a makeover. Per Manish Mehta of the New York Daily News, the Jets are hoping to move on from outside linebacker Darren Lee and are positioning themselves to upgrade at linebacker. Among the potential targets that could replace Lee at outside linebacker was Quan Alexander, but he is signing a 4-year deal with the 49ers worth $54 million, according to Ian Rapoport of NFL.com. October 14, 2018, East Rutherford, NJ, USA. New York Jets cornerback Darryl Roberts, 27, celebrates with cornerback Morris Claiborne, 21, in front of Indianapolis Colts wide receiver Zach Pascal, 14, during the second half at MetLife Stadium. Mandatory credit, Vincent Carcietta. USA Today Sports. Vincent Carcietta. The Jets are working toward a deal to bring back cornerback Darryl Roberts. According to SNY's Ralph Vacchiano, they will not, however, be bringing back Morris Claiborne. According to Manish Mehta of the New York Daily News, Roberts, 28, played well for the Jets last season, finishing with 48 tackles, an interception and 7 pass deflections. He allows the Jets to have a reliable depth option and can also be used on special teams.